All right, thanks guys. Hey, if I haven't met you yet, my name is Rachel. I'm on staff here with PTSM. So great to be with middle school. Yes, I was at Camp Eagle. It was awesome. And I love you guys. I love middle school. It's a lot of fun. I love this series that we're in called Circles, talking about the people who are in our circle, around our circle, and what do we do about it. So today is an awesome message. We're going to be talking about what it looks like to widen the circle. Can y'all say that? Can y'all say widen the circle? All right, good. You're hanging in there with me. So in order to show you guys what I mean by widen the circle, I'm going to need just a few people to help me out. I'm going to have some of my ladies here in the front row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, y'all 6. Come on up here. That's all I need. All right. Right in the middle of the stage, face the front. Thank you so much. All right, shh. So here's the deal. I've got a circle, right? You agree this is a circle?
No, that's a globe.
What do I call 6? Yeah, there we go. Awesome. So here's a circle, here's the deal. I'm gonna give this to y'all, and I'm gonna see how many people can fit inside the circle. All right? But that's not it. So I've got a bag of my favorite candy bars, and whoever gets inside the circle, I'll give a candy bar. Y'all ready?
Work together. Get in the circle, Addie. Candy.
Oh, they're doing good. Oh, man. Oh, that's.
We got 5.
Wow. Okay, y'all are smaller than I pictured. So there's definitely one. I'm sorry, your whole body is not in, so I'm gonna have to, go ahead and, your whole body is not in. We successfully have 4 bodies, y'all stay right there. We have 4 bodies inside the circle, so I'm gonna keep one for myself, right, because baby Ruth. So how do y'all feel if I give them 4, one but not y'all?
They're sad and
Shh, I want them to answer. How do you feel?
Sad.
You feel a little sad?
I'm offended.
I mean, I did kick you out of the circle. Like you were like towed in, but I was like, no, get out. You can't fit, right? Okay, you know what? Hold up right there. I won't quite do that yet. I'm gonna change the rules. I'll change the rules. So go ahead and, y'all did great. Go ahead and get out of the hula hoop. But see, here's the thing about this circle. This circle is pretty rigid. It doesn't bend very well. It doesn't move very much. They needed to like squeeze it a little more and it wasn't budging. So I'm gonna give them something different to work with. All right, instead I wanna give you ladies a hula hoop. No, what is this? I don't even, a jump rope. Woo, it's been a while since I've worked with one of these. All right, this is a jump rope, guys. So I'll give you guys a jump rope. It moves all around, loosey-goosey, right? See if you can make a circle with it and fit in there. Okay, now let's see how they did. Wow. Did they fit? Beautiful. Y'all give it up for these ladies. And as promised, here you go, either for yourself or for a friend. You can pass it on if you don't want it, but well done. Thank you. Jump rope. And one for myself. Perfect. So here's the thing. Whenever the circle is rigid, it's very limited with what you can fit inside it. But if you're willing to widen the circle, it takes a different type of circle to be able to be widened, and then you can fit more in. And so suddenly they went from, being a little sad and left out to, oh, I'm smiling. All right, I get a candy bar. It's a good day. And so everyone is better when you widen the circle. And so tonight I'm gonna give us 3 things. So in order to widen the circle, we've got to look out for 3 things. And that's the whole message, 3 things to look for in order to widen the circle. So the first thing to look for, who's on the outside of the circle? Who's on the outside of the circle? I just want y'all to think about it. And hey, if y'all take notes, man, I encourage you to take notes. So I'm gonna go to Acts chapter 2. Acts chapter 2, with this idea in mind of who's on the outside of the circle. You see, Acts chapter 2, starting in verse 42, here's what's going on. In the book of Acts, it's in the New Testament. It comes right after the book of John. So Jesus lived on this earth. He had friends on this earth. He died on the cross for us. He rose again from the dead. He lived again for several days, and then he ascended into heaven. And after he ascended into heaven to be with the Father, the first church started. And the book of Acts talks about that. So we get to learn, like, this is Preston Trail, but we're only 15 years old. So we're talking thousands of years ago. What did the very first church look like? So y'all go ahead and look at it with me. I'm going to read through this and take note of what the first ever church looked like. It says this: all the believers devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching, to fellowship, to sharing meals, the Lord's Supper, and to prayer. A deep sense of awe came over them. The apostles performed many miraculous signs and wonders. All the believers met together in one place. They shared everything they had. They sold their property, possessions, and they shared the money with those in need. They worshiped together at the temple, which is like the church, and they met in homes for the Lord's Supper and shared meals with great joy and generosity, all the while praising God and enjoying the goodwill of all the people. And here's what happened because of it. Don't miss this. Each day the Lord added to their number those who were being saved. So what would have happened if the very, very first church, there was about 3,000-ish, which is big, but not really that big, right? What happened if it just stayed 3,000 people? Christianity would have never made it to America. I'll give you the answer, right? Like, we would never have known about Jesus. So they had to see who's on the outside of this circle and invite them in and say, come, enjoy this meal with us. Come, worship with us. Come, let's learn together. Come hear this teaching, this sermon that someone's giving. Come on with me. They invited, and it says every single day, people were added to their group, and they grew and grew and grew. And so that's the first thing, is that you've got to notice who's on the outside of your circle. Guys, I read an article the other day of something really, really sad that really disturbed me. But because it fits with tonight's message, I think y'all might be mature enough to hear this, because I think it's worth sharing with you guys. So I read this article about a kid, this young man who is from our community, a high school nearby. He was in the marching band at that high school, and he didn't have many friends. He was hurting. He was in a really deep, dark place with bad thoughts about himself, lies that he believed about himself. And he ended up taking his own life, and he died by suicide. Now, his mom decided she wanted to take his life and use it for something positive. And I love what his mom said. She said, circles of friends are beautiful, but they can be painful if you aren't in the middle of one. Look outside the circle and widen it. You can't be best friends with everybody, but you can be nice to everybody. You can look up from your phone and notice the kid sitting alone. That's what his mom wanted the legacy to be. To notice who is on the outside of your circle. Guys, that kills me. That makes me so sad that someone was hurting that badly and no one was doing anything about it. I don't know what happened, but what if someone was willing to look up and to invite him into a conversation or a friend group or the lunch table or a hangout or a joke or a conversation or a study group? What if someone widened their circle for this guy? You see, if you include one person, you may not change the world, but if you include one person, you may change their world. So what if you included just one at a time? Think of one person. Who could I include? That one person, and you might change their entire world. I'll give you guys a second thing. So first thing, who's on the outside of your circle? Second thing, where's the wise voice in your circle? Now, when I talk about the wise voice in your circle, I'm not talking about the kid who, he says all like the smart things, or the girl who has all the answers, or, that's the one who always get A+ on their homework. That's not the wise voice that I'm talking about. I'm talking about someone who is years older than you and much further than you in their faith. That's the wise voice. Someone who has more life experience, someone who has more faith experience than you do. Proverbs 13:20 in our Bible says this: walk with the wise and become wise. A companion of fools suffers harm. What would it look like to walk with the wise, with wise leaders, wise older people in our life that we're going to for advice, that we're going to talk about our struggles and our hurts, that we're not keeping them to ourselves, we're only talking to our peers and friends, but we're going to wiser people and saying, hey, this is going on, what should I do about it? That's wisdom. I want to tell you about my friend Grace. So Grace is an amazing young lady. She is a senior in high school. She goes to this church at Preston Trail. This is Grace. She has been serving in middle school for now 3 years. She is a small group leader. And the girls that she started with were in 6th grade first, and now they are in 8th grade. She has moved up with them every year. She's a great small group leader. And it's people like Grace. You see, Grace makes great decisions in life. I've gotten to know her since she was a freshman in high school, so all throughout her high school years. She's been wise about where she goes during the week. She's been wise about, once she started driving, where she goes when she drives, about how and where she gets a job and how she handles that, about her academics, about what she does on the weekend, what she posts on social media. Grace makes great decisions. And so if you are lucky enough to be an 8th grade girl at the 11 o'clock service and you go to Grace's small group, that is a great, wise voice to include in your circle. And there's so many more I could have talked about because our small group leaders that we have on the weekend are amazing voices that we can include in our own circle. And so I want to ask you guys, have you given your small group leader a place of influence in your life? Because I know a lot of y'all do go to church on the weekend here at Preston Trail, and you have a small group leader, but have you allowed that person to actually speak into your life where you're gonna listen to them and you're gonna take their advice, you're gonna take their words of wisdom, you're gonna take their encouragement, and you're actually going to receive it? You don't just sit in group and put up a wall and tune it out for the whole time. Have you given them a position of influence in your life? Third thing we can look out for to widen our circle: how are you contributing to your circle? How are you contributing to your circle? You see, God can use you to impact someone else. Yes, you, 8th grader, 7th grader, 6th grader, God can use you to impact someone else. In Romans 10, a guy named Paul, Romans 12:10, he says this: be devoted to one another in love. Devotion, that is not just showing up and, oh yeah, I've seen that person, or, oh, it's that guy over there. No, devoted means you're giving your everything, you're prioritizing it. Prioritize each other in love. He continues and he says, share with the Lord's people who are in need. You see, some of y'all could be contributing more to your group, more to your friend circle. Now, I know we don't have a lot of money when you're in middle school. You don't have necessarily a lot of things that you can share, but you do have words that you can say. You do have thoughts and opinions and ideas that you can share. You have encouragement that you can give. So when you see someone, it looks like they're hurting, do you sit back? Do you stay silent? Or do you speak up and you say, hey, you got this, man? Or you see a person who's about to start crying, you say, hey, I'm here for you. Or you see a person who's too scared to even speak up and you say, hey, if you ever want to talk, I got you. That's what it means to show up and to contribute to someone else. And so I want to give you guys 3 possible groups. You might be in one of these 3 categories. First category you might be in, if you're not in a small group at Preston Trail, what would happen if you decided to show up and give it a try? If you decided to come on the weekend, I want to show you guys our service times. We have 3 middle school services every single weekend. Saturday evening and 2 on Sunday morning, right here in this room. And we have amazing men and women and parents and high schoolers who show up every weekend. Why would they do that? Because they care about you. And they want to be a wise voice in your life. They want to be a listening ear when you're hurting or when you're confused or you have doubts or questions or you just want to celebrate with someone. We have those people here. So what would it look like if you showed up and you gave it a try? Second category you might be in, I know a lot of y'all, you do come on the weekend. And maybe you're someone who only comes sometimes. Maybe you come once a month, once even less. You come here or there. When you show up, maybe you're on your phone and you're playing games and you're tuning everything out. Well, what would happen if you decided to make that small group time a priority in your life? And decided, you know what, I need to make it more of a commitment to come more regularly. What would happen? You could choose to widen your circle by committing to your group. Or there's a third category that maybe you fall into. If you come on the weekend, and I know a lot of you are faithful, and I see you guys here about every single weekend, and you show up, and you're here all the time. So if you attend regularly and you're faithful to your group, have you realized that you have something to contribute? Like, has that actually dawned on you, and have you accepted that, and have you done something about it? You can widen your circle by speaking up, by encouraging others, by offering your thoughts and opinions and contribute to group. And don't wait for your small group leader to give the advice or to start asking the questions or to be the only one with encouragement or the only one that prays. What if some of you guys in this room, you showed up and you decided, I have something to contribute. I can make someone else's life better. I can give my thoughts and ideas and contribute to group. I hope you guys will consider one of those three categories. Consider widening your circle, because everyone gets better when you widen your circle. So the last thought, I want to give you guys just a question to consider. And if you do show up this weekend, it's going to be a lot of fun. Like the host said earlier, we're going to have an awesome color wars. So we do have a lot of fun here on the weekend. But then we also have part of the time where we just sit down and we talk about life and what's going on. And we get to talk about these messages. Whatever's talked about here at halftime, we get to then talk about what it's going to look like in our own lives with our small group leaders, with our peers. So I'd want to give you guys this final question. How will you choose to widen your circle to hear God's voice through other people? How can you choose to widen your circle and hear from God? I bet God could speak to you and tell you something or show you something that you've never realized or seen before or heard before. If some of you are wanting to hear from God and you're like, I don't know, God, are you real? God, I've been trying to pray and I don't hear from you. Then I challenge you guys, take a step. Just be like, all right, I'm going to take this step. I'm going to show up, or I'm going to commit, or I'm going to contribute. And I'm going to see what happens and see if God speaks to me through that, through widening your circle.